Oh yeah, we got him. Trey, and Maestro styles, you know we got one. Right back like we left something. We don't duck smoke, we want all of it. So line them up, Trey shot with the blade, you know we sizing it up. I'm quick to catch the fade, you know Styles making the cut. Cause we coming out clean every time that we showing up.
It's gonna be called The Barbershop.
Hey, yo, what up, folks? Welcome back. It's a brand new episode of the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. We are streaming live on our YouTube channel, Facebook page, on Twitch, on Instagram, and on Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2. You got your boy Trey Frazier, and you got your boy Maestro Styles here, my brother.
Yes,
Welcome
sir,
back,
yes, sir.
man. What's going on?
Man, another day, man. How you?
I'm good. I'm good, man. The spring break, as always, is never long enough, but I'm happy to be back, man.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't spring break for me, but I'm glad you got some vacation time for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Atlanta was good. To me this time. Pollen is crazy.
Pollen is crazy.
Everywhere, but particularly down there, it was just crazy. But shout out to my folks down there, moms and a few of my cousins I got a chance to go see, and it was cool, man. It was a real dope trip.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's what's up. Well, I'm glad you rested. I'm glad you got some family time. Obviously we got some sports to get into, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I was, looking forward to, NBA playoffs is here. This past weekend, a bunch of game ones. We'll talk about that. There's an NFL draft coming up on Thursday that me personally, I don't really care much for, other than the Ravens doing what they need to do. I'm sure you feel the same way as far as Pittsburgh's concerned. I do got some quick hitters to hit. And obviously we've gone through a couple of changes since we've been gone and stuff like that. I do want to promote something, since we got this kind of new thing going on here. And I've talked about this hat for quite some time, folks. If you're watching, we got the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. It's a new era snapback hat, trucker hat. I got about 6 of them left, folks. So, get them while, the price is good. If you're watching, you got the QR code right there. Just scan the QR code. They'll take you right to our Instagram account. Just DM me. Let me know, that you want to cop one, and we'll hook that up. So, shout out to the good folks over at New Era, for, hooking up that hat for us. So,
yes, sir.
Let's I got some quick hitters, man.
Okay.
Let me get started with the NBA real quick, because there was a couple of play-in games last week, and then the teams that got knocked out, they went through some changes and stuff. Let me start with the Kings, and big shout out to Scott Perry, who was the former executive with the Knicks, got the general manager job with the Kings. I can't remember who he replaced, but they got him up out of there, put Scott Perry in there. Want to congratulate him on, getting that gig, and really good luck, because the Kings, as far as like roster construction and, all the changes they've made, over the past several months, I don't know what direction this team is going to go. Shout out Doug Christie, for kind of, keeping the group, together to at least get it to a playing game.
Yeah.
And congrats again to Scott Perry.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that team is well, I guess that's kind of the way you want to, if you a GM, that's kind of the way you want to get a team, is getting with a little bit of turmoil, so you could immediately kind of come in and do your thing. I mean, I can't imagine anybody on that roster is safe. Even Sabonis, Zach LaVine.
Mm-hmm. Good
Zach
point.
LaVine. I think he's expendable at this point. DeMar DeRozan, who got into some nonsense over the past week. He's none of these players are guaranteed to be on the roster next year. So I mean, I guess for that instance, it's good for him to be able to come in and kind of do his own thing.
Yeah, for sure. And DeMar DeRozan, and speaking of the Kings, did you see the clip of him
I
at
couldn't really
the
make out what was happening. I'm not gonna lie to you. My old eyes,
Mhm.
mixed match with pollen. I couldn't really tell what was going on. But I did attempt to look at it. Yes.
Yeah. So the context is that there was a fan at the restaurant. I don't remember what type of restaurant it was, but DeRozan was out with his folks.
Yeah.
A fan saw him. I guess wanted to take a picture or whatever, and dude like had his phone like in his
In his
face
face. Yeah.
stuff. And to me, like as a fellow fan, that's disrespect. You know what I'm saying? Like the
Yeah.
dude is trying to be out with his family, and you know, like the way fans approach athletes and celebrities, like y'all go about this thing all wrong, man. I get folks get starstruck, but y'all can't be doing that.
Yeah, I like the way that I seen Cam Newton talking about it a little bit before I got on here, and I think at the end of the day, people forget that these guys are human beings, and at the end of
Yeah,
the day, it's like I get it. They play basketball, but it's a job. And when they're not playing basketball, they're not at work. So, it's like, don't sit there like, it's like, you do project management, but you trade Frazier at the Barbershop Sports Talk podcast. If you're not at the Barbershop Sports Talk podcast, but you see somebody, it's a way to approach you talking about the podcast if you're clearly doing something at work or
yep.
vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So it's just people being aware of their situations but that dude was looking for a story. And that's another thing Cam Newton alluded to. Whoever that guy
Hmm.
was, he was trying to get a moment, and like I said, I couldn't really make out everything that happened. Like, it looked like he got what he needed.
Yeah, right, right. I
Yeah,
guess. I guess. I mean, I haven't seen him since the incident, but I guess
yeah,
he got his 5 minutes or whatever, um, to do that. But I'll give to the starstruck fans that see celebrities, every now often. I want to give a little example of how to deal with stuff like this. So, Maestro, I told you over the weekend that when we flew to Atlanta, we flew to Raleigh at our, connecting city just to get to Atlanta. And Tretch from Naughty by Nature was on our flight. He actually sat in the seat right behind me. I didn't say anything. At first, I questioned if it was him or not. And then once I realized it was him, I was like, all right, in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna say something to him at the perfect time. So when the plane landed and everybody was, getting up to get their bags to get ready to get off the plane, I looked behind me. He was standing up, and I was like, "Hey, yo, what's going on?" And he was like, "Yeah, what's going on? How you doing?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm good. Good to see you and all that stuff." And that's it. Like, I'm not looking for, something for the gram, even though if the opportunity presented itself, yeah, I would have loved to take a picture with Tretch from Naughty by Nature, of course, but I didn't feel like the opportunity at that time presented itself. So I'm not gonna go crazy, looking for a viral moment, you know. Just gotta
yeah. Well, look, and of course, good job, but I'm not going to look. And let me be clear: Slim was wrong. Whoever the dude was, he was
yeah,
dead wrong. He shouldn't have went about it that way. But you're
yeah.
not starstruck about Tretch. With all due respect to Tretch, you're not starstruck about Tretch. I mean,
Right.
I can't
I'm not
imagine.
starstruck about anybody, to be
Exactly.
honest
I was
with you.
going to say I can't
Yeah.
imagine you being starstruck about anybody. But I know 20-year-old Trey,
Mhm.
and if it was Ashanti at 20 years old, what I'm saying. So I'm
Yeah.
not, not to shoot Slim Bell. I'm just saying that there,
Right.
I wouldn't have. he crossed the line, but there is a way to kind of get what you was trying to get better
Right.
than what he did, better than what Slim did.
Without the confrontation that took
Yeah,
place.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
I mean, because to be honest with you, and I don't know, I wasn't there at the airport or on the plane. I feel like I feel like there could have been a way where you could have been like, hey, my name's woo 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 woo. It would mean a
Sure.
lot to me if you could, just give me a quick
Sure.
flick. And if he said, I mean, because look, the worst thing
Sure.
he'll say is no. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
right,
You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
And then it's
I'll be honest with you, just to continue. I saw him at baggage claim. Like we're
right.
on the same flight and we're going to the same baggage claim area, and we're just a few feet from each other. And yeah, I could have been like, hey man, love to get a pic with you, whatever. But I just decided, you know
Yeah,
what, everybody's at the airport, everybody's
yeah,
trying to get to a certain spot.
sure.
It was cool for me. It was cool to get the 20 seconds of, hey, how you doing? Good to see you, and all that good stuff. Like,
Yeah, so I'm not saying you wrong. I'm just more so saying that your position and that fan's position were a different position.
yeah,
You wasn't even really tripping about trying to get a picture or get a moment, whereas this fan or this person was clearly trying to get a moment. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? For
for,
whatever
right,
his reason he was trying to get a moment, and whatever your reason you wasn't trying to get a moment.
right.
So I think y'all were in different situations.
I agree with that.
He
I
was
agree with that.
trying to get a moment. He was
Right.
if it was a flick, if it was a case, whatever, he was trying to get a moment.
Yeah.
And that wasn't necessarily your goal. So that's a little bit different. What
Hmm.
else? Again, we agree. That's not how you do things. You just don't.
Right.
And we come from the era, man. We come from the era where it's low key corny to do things like get autographs and ask for pictures, and like it's kind of
Yeah.
corny, and like what I'm saying, like we came up that way, me and you.
Yeah.
So it's just a little different. Whereas this dude, clearly, I'm assuming, but clearly one of these Instagram babies that believe everything got to be on social media, and which would be the
Hmm.
reason he walked up on somebody with his phone. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so
Right. The way he did the approach.
yeah,
The approach had to be different. I'm not saying he shouldn't have
try.
tried to ask for his autograph for a picture. I'm not
Yeah,
saying that.
his
It's
approach is
the
wrong.
approach.
Yeah,
It's the
we agree.
approach.
We
Yep.
agree. We agree. We agree. But yeah, for sure, he had his little moment. And he, whatever he was looking for, he definitely got what he needed. Shout out to DeMar DeRozan. And hey, man,
Hope
that's.
yeah, he going on about his business.
I mean, what else is there to do?
Right. And quite frankly, I'm glad that it's at that point where he is going about his business, and I haven't heard anything about police being involved or charges or anything like that. Nothing really happened. So
Yeah,
I'm actually happy that he's kind of out of trouble, or really never was in trouble to begin with, but to say, hey, that situation was what it was. I'm moving on to the off season. Do what I got to do, and that's that. So,
yeah, for sure, for sure.
the New Orleans Pelicans made a couple of changes in their front office. They fired David Griffin after, a really terrible season due to
Yeah,
injuries. But somebody got to be the scapegoat, unfortunately. And surprising move by the Pelicans. Joe Dumars is now their new vice president of basketball operations.
okay,
So, congrats to Joe Dumars,
yeah,
man. It's been a long time coming, bro. Because I thought he should have been an executive, for so many years ago, even after he had the Detroit gig.
right,
When Detroit was, during their run in the
run,
mid 2000s. So,
yeah.
congrats to him.
Yeah, for sure. Congratulations. I look, much like the situation in Sacramento. This is not like. I mean, I guess they got a little more. They got a little more to play with in Zion. But you would think that nobody's really expendable. You in a situation. I know it's not necessarily. We're not talking about this. GM and VP are two different roles, but I mean, you're in a situation where you have the reins to kind of rebuild your team. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So You know.
Yeah, what did they do? They got Deontay Murray this past off season.
I don't plan on I don't know
Zion
what.
is still,
Yeah,
you
like
know,
to be honest with you, you know, if I'm Joe Dumars and I'm not, but if I am, you know, you trying to figure out how to clean house. You
you
are.
got to shake that up. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just getting to the point where because they already shipped out Brandon Ingram,
Right.
to Toronto,
Right.
so he's out of there. You still got to figure out if you really want to keep Zion Williamson and sit
I
down, talk
mean,
with him about his situation and
right.
staying committed and all that stuff. Like, there's a lot of things to figure out with the Pelicans. So he's got his work cut out for him for sure.
Yeah, yeah. You know, but congratulations, man. I mean, look, we know he's capable of putting a team together or being, being in the office that puts a team together. So,
Yeah.
good luck. You know, wish the best for him. Wish the best for him for
Yep.
sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know how much more you got in basketball.
Uh-huh.
I
Go
did.
ahead.
No, my nothing. I don't got nothing too crazy that's basketball related.
Okay.
I did
Okay.
want to give a quick shout out to Julio Jones and Tyron Smith on their retirement, and let me add to that list.
Yeah.
Patrick Peterson also announced retirement in the past week. So congratulations, Julio Jones.
Yep.
I mean, for my account, all three of them are Hall of Famers.
Yeah, I was just about to say all Hall of Famers in my book.
Yeah, so congratulations to them. Now we can get to some of the nonsense.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure
That's where I
that
thought
we
you was
said,
going.
but I did want to make sure we congratulated those three NFL players.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to make sure I got that out the way.
Yep.
Y'all got to pardon me because my allergies are kicking up right the fuck now, but we gonna thug it out. So Shannon Sharp, man. I was just watching his Club Shay Shay interview with Andrew Schultz recently, like maybe last week. Where he was talking about how if he's about to get on the elevator and he sees a single woman that somebody that appears to be a single woman on the elevator, he'll get off the elevator and let them get on the elevator because he ain't trying to give the impression of anything. He don't want to be around nobody that might could throw him under the fire or whoop whoop whoop, this, that, and the third.
Yep.
So I found it interesting that this news popped up on my timeline yesterday that he's getting sued for $50 million by a OnlyFans model named Gabby Zuniga, white girl.
Yeah.
White girl who claims they were dating or they had a dating situation when she was 19. Look, man, I don't know all the facts, so I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I know all the facts. And I don't want to seem insensitive because if Shannon Sharp did some bullshit, he should be punished. He should, be put through the ringer and all the necessary things.
Yep.
From what I can gather or what I can recollect from the story, I'm sorry, man. It seemed like Shorty on a trying to get a come up, man. It seemed like and again, I will totally backtrack and do all the apologies and all the necessary things. But I mean, we talking about text messages that said, "Hey, 25,000 for each cheek." Like, these are the type of text messages that have been released. And I understand that there's a video where he like choking her or some shit, but making it seem like
whoa. Let's not put misinformation out there.
Okay, that's okay. I apologize for that misinformation.
There's a video of audio of them talking back and forth.
My apologies.
And them saying, "Hey, if I catch you doing that again, I'm gonna choke the blood out of you."
My apologies.
So that's what that was. It was audio. It wasn't a video of him actually doing the choking.
Right.
At least not what I saw.
Yeah. No. My apologies. Yeah. You absolutely right. This is not the time to spread misinformation. So my apologies. But you know, I did also hear, and again, this is me trying to collective. I don't recollect everything. I'm fresh off the story, but like, did Shawty saying shit to him like, like,
Put a black baby in me or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, bruh. Like, if I'm, I don't know who's telling the truth. I don't know who's telling the lies. But if I'm to go off of that, this just seems like your casual toxic relationship. You know what I'm saying? If I'm just to go off of that,
Yeah.
For whatever reason they're not talking no more, and it seemed like, okay, she might have heard to the grapevine, or she down on hard times, but she might have heard to the grapevine that Shannon Sharp about to get a bag. I heard some rumors about him, some $100 million deal that's supposed to be going around.
Yeah, with Volume Sports. That's the
Uh-huh.
company that Colin Coward owns.
Okay, yeah. So I didn't know all the details, but I again just trying to recollect all the information that I was getting at
Yep.
one time. Um, hey man, I'll say this in closing without, again, I don't know all the facts. I don't pretend to know all the facts. I don't even pretend to be well informed in the story because I don't care that much.
Yeah.
If you did it, then hey, bro, that's a terrible time to get caught. That's first of all, it's a terrible time to get caught. And bad. Make sure you see my finger. Bad Shannon Sharp if he did that.
Yeah.
But it don't seem. I just can't. I don't know. I don't know what it is about Shannon Sharp. And I don't know him personally, but about his that make me feel like, nah, like he a freaky nigga, like, like, but I don't think that's the bag. I don't think that's the bag, man.
So a couple things from me. So let me put this out there also. I think this is important.
Okay.
The lawyer that got involved with this is Tony Busby.
Busby. Mm-hmm.
And for folks that aren't aware of the name Tony Busby, this is the guy that got involved with the women with the Deshaun Watson case.
Mm-hmm.
This is the guy that tried to sue Jay-Z
Yeah.
for that situation, which eventually got dropped on the Tony Busby side. So let's make sure we get that out there. And I think the reason why I think you feel that way, or part of why I think you feel that way about this, may be just another, woman just trying to get a payday. It could be Tony Busby's involvement, because it does seem like this dude is an opportunist.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he's a lawyer, but he's also an opportunist to, as Shannon put it in that video, taking down black men. So you have that. Number two, I wholeheartedly agree with Charlamagne the God. Shout out to the homie. Dude, and look, I get it. This is prevalent in celebrity circles when it comes to dating women and flying them out and all this kind of stuff. I get it. Shannon, you 50 something years old, man. You 56, 57 years old, man. And you out here talking to 20-year-olds. And yes, it's legal. Nothing wrong with it from a legal standpoint. But man, come on, bro. Like you at a point in life where it's just like, yo, man, hey, settle down. And I don't mean settle down getting married. That's what I don't mean. What I mean is, yo, you see all these baddies out here that's in their 40s, like, come on, man. Like, what we doing? What we doing, Shannon?
I'm not prescribing to that because
what we doing, Shannon?
I'm not gonna make this a social. I'm not gonna make this a social podcast. But I don't feel like nobody feel that way about Tracy Ellis Ross. So you know what I'm saying? She, if they could, I guess me and you personally spoke on Trey and Michelle and
Green.
Right, and then Anthony. I found out Anthony Edwards' baby mother is like 38. I didn't realize she was that old.
I saw that too, and I don't know the backstory behind that, so I'm not gonna say much.
We're just talking about age. All we're talking about is age.
Right.
age difference.
Yep.
So I mean, look, I'm
And like I
not.
said, I understand. And like I said, I'm aware that it's prevalent in these kinds of circles.
Look, man, look,
You know,
cause keep it a buck, man. You making a lot. And look, this is no slight to older women or nothing. This ain't that. When you got money, you they it's youthful. It's more
I get
youthful.
it. They
It's
coming. I
yeah,
get it.
yeah, yeah.
I get
Like
it.
you know what I'm saying. Like you know,
I get it.
like when Tracy Ellis Ross said something to the effect of you know, she deals with younger, I mean, she chooses to deal with younger men because of her experiences with older men. Like older men got their thing with, you know,
Hmm.
what they're sold on, what they're not sold on.
Hmm.
I think that same
Right.
theory
Right.
can apply to younger women. Like, you know, like older
Hmm.
women have lived life and they got their opinions on how life should be and how they want their mates to be and how they want their sexual experiences to be. Whereas if
Hmm.
you get a younger woman with less experience, you can say, "Ooh, let's do this," and they're a little more open to do this because they haven't had the experience. So, you know, I'm not knocking it. It's not my personal preference to talk to a 19-year-old or 20-year-old, that type of thing. I think the youngest I'll personally ever go at this current age is like
Hmm.
25, 27. You know what I'm saying? And you got to jai like be you got to like Jay Dilla type shit for me to like, you know what I'm saying? We got to have something in common for real.
Sure.
For me to
Yeah.
even, you know what I'm saying, to have anything serious going on outside of a quick smash and dash. But I'm saying all that to say, I'm not going to
Hmm.
hold that against Shannon Sharp. I mean, she legal. He met her in a situation, you know, I guess he said that a story they met in a gym and he was persistent about it because she looked however she looked in the gym. And it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, did she say then, "Oh, I'm 19"? I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Or I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, look, I do think that there you should be able to tell, you know, based on most people's conversation, you got a grasp of how old a woman is or a person is based on their
Hmm.
conversation. So I'm sure he knew she was young.
Yeah.
Did he know she was 19? I don't know. But all that to say, if that's how he play, it's legal. That's how he play. That's not how I personally play, but I ain't gonna judge you if that's how you want to play, and
Hmm.
and that consensual human being is playing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
I
get it. I get it. I'm just. I say again. I agree with what Charlemagne said. Like, dude, you. Hey, man. There's a group. There's an older group of women that's just as fine and is aging well.
well, I would say
Yeah.
that. I would say this. That is a subjective statement. I'll say that.
Okay. Okay. Fair.
There, yeah, yeah. Because
Fair.
look, I'm
Fair.
not gonna say I'm not. I don't. You're not gonna trick me into seeming like I'm shitting on older women when I appreciate you. Look, I
Yeah.
appreciate that you're not as
I'm
active.
not. I'm not tricking you.
Yeah, I appreciate a woman that is not super active, just enough active to get the job done. I don't need to be climbing. I don't need to join climbing up walls. I'm not interested. Give me a good solid smash. Don't you know what I'm saying? Like you know, but yeah. But if that's how you play, I mean that is shape. You know what I'm saying? That's how you want to play. You know, God bless him.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey. Hey.
God
It
bless
is
him.
what it is, man.
Yeah, for sure. God bless him. I don't feel no kind of way about that.
Yeah.
Like if that's how he's with it, God bless.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what comes of this lawsuit. And look, we'll treat it as such. We take stuff seriously when it comes to allegations and things like that. But like you, there's some red flags to this. My red flag for this situation, from my point of view, is who the lawyer is, and we know the kind of history there is with this guy Tony Busby. I'll just leave it at that.
For sure, for sure. So my last, I guess, quick but not really quick hitter.
Yep.
This cat that this college football cat, Nico, I'm losing his last name. That went to he was in Tennessee, played for Tennessee, um, and he wanted to get $4 million NIL money. and essentially Tennessee was like, "Peace, nah, we're not giving you that. Peace." I guess I guess long story short, he's going to end up in UCLA making 1.75. He was making 2 million somewhere. I want to say he was making 2
Yep.
million in Tennessee. Making 2 million in Tennessee. He wanted $4 million. They dropped him, let him, excuse him from the program, and now he's at UCLA making about 250,000 less than what he was making at Tennessee. What are your thoughts on college players demanding more money from their programs?
I like it, actually.
Yeah,
This is the atmosphere now. This is the arena we're in now with NIL deals and college players making decisions for themselves for their brand. So look, as long as the system is set up that way, these kids, if they want to enter the transfer portal, whether it's college basketball or college football, hey, you know, coaches have been doing transfer portals for a long, long time, man. And now the players get the opportunity to do the same. And yes, I get it. It comes with some criticism. I think some of it is
and
unwarranted
this
at
kid
times.
lost. And by the way, this kid lost in this
Yeah,
situation. Like he lost money.
yeah, yeah. And look, you're gonna take your L's.
Yeah,
Nobody's perfect. We don't get what we want always. But the fact that he's exercising the right and the opportunity to attempt to get what he feels like he deserves, for me, is commendable. Like
yeah,
I got no issues with it whatsoever.
yeah. Neither do I. I mean, he took a gamble and lost. And sometimes you take a gamble and you lose. And sometimes,
That's it.
like you said, sometimes it happens. I seen Cam talking about it, and he was basically talking about now he in UCLA and how they gonna tax it in UCLA in California.
Hmm.
Like he stands to lose a lot of. I mean, 250,000 is a
He
lot
a
of money, of
quarterback?
course. Yeah, he's a quarterback.
Okay.
He was
Yeah,
playing in Tennessee.
Nico. I'm not even going to pronounce this dude's last name, but I just pulled
Yeah,
him up on
yeah.
Twitter. But
So he's
yeah,
going to be in UCLA making approximately, or they estimated at 1.75, which like I said, which is less than what he was making. And look,
yep,
man, I agree with you. I'm not mad that he shot the shot. You know what I'm saying? Look, man, maybe he was the wrong guy, and maybe he didn't understand. Maybe he had his leverage all wrong, or maybe he just wanted some money. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Whatever the
yep.
situation. These are some of the things that come with this being a business now. It's not just student sports anymore. This is a job essentially now.
L's stand for losses, but they also stand for lessons
That's a
learned.
fact. That's a fact.
So, next time he's in a situation, he'll know what to expect. And I think more so learning lesson because look, whenever he decides he's going to come out and hit the NFL draft, one of these years, and he gets a bigger payday, he'll know how to negotiate contracts. He'll know how to negotiate what he feels like he's worth. So,
Yeah, I mean,
Nico, take that as a learning lesson, man.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, we agree. Like, learn. It didn't work out. I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, we don't know what the parameters were as to why they felt like that wasn't enough, and totally cut him from the team. But hey, man,
Hmm. Hey, it is what it is.
it
It
is
is
what
what
it
it is.
is. No pun intended.
Yep. Quick shout out to our guy Silas Whittle.
What up? What up?
Had him on a podcast a few months ago talking Bills, and yeah, I got to get on you, Silas, about the teams you root for, man, because you being the Northern New Jersey guy, rooting for these teams is a little questionable. But hey, your choice is your choice. I'm a Ravens fan. I'm not from
Yeah,
Baltimore, so
don't
I ain't
don't
gonna I
start
ain't gonna
this
hate, but
conversation.
that's one team. That's one
Don't
team. That dude got
that's
two teams that ain't from the area he from. So
Hey man, don't start that
that's
shit.
that's
Don't
that's the,
start
that's the
that
only
shit.
difference. That's the only difference. But
Shout out
yeah,
Silas.
shout out. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, NBA playoffs, man. Knicks and Pistons, first round matchup. Knicks get game one on Saturday. Pistons get game
21
2
point
last night.
comeback. No, that's not leave out 21-point comeback game 1. And I think when they down like 12-14 late in game
Yep.
2 as well.
Yep. Yeah, we were, and we tied it. We
Yeah.
tied it up
I mean,
94 with
yeah.
a couple minutes left, and right now, Detroit has outplayed us through these 2 games, because other than that 21-0 run that you mentioned, Detroit's kind of been, getting what they want, even though K didn't have a great game 1. Like, he had a much better game 2 last night. But the older veterans, the veterans on the Pistons, Tobias Harris, Dennis Schroeder, those guys were able to kind of pick up the slack for him in game 1. But
Schroeder had 20. Schroeder had 20 off the bench last night, though.
He did. And he hit essentially
the nail in the
game-winning
coffin.
3-point. Yeah. Pretty much. Pretty much. And we had our chances. Late in the game, we had our chances. Bridges had a couple of good looks, just didn't shoot the ball well. Jalen Brunson has not been. Look, here's the thing, because he's been taking a lot of criticism today, and I think some of it is warranted, and I think some of it you got to spread around the rest of the team. Like Karl Anthony Towns to not score in the second half last night, like something's got to change there. Mikal Bridges, we gave up 5 first-round picks for you, bro. Like you gotta them shots. You gotta hit them. Look like them good looks. You gotta knock that down. Like, you can't be grazing the iron, off them shots. Jalen Brunson, my only criticism is not being able to get the ball moving in the offense. Like, I get it. Like, you the dude. Like, they call you Captain Clutch for a reason.
Yeah,
they call you Captain Clutch for a reason. But when it stick with him sometime, it don't, like, the offense ain't the same, man. Like, we come out, we start these games, and particularly last night, in every quarter, we just came out flat. Like, just when you think, okay, it's a 8-point deficit, it's a 6-point deficit, we start these quarters, they come out flat, and they got to get that ball moving better. Like, they got to get OG like into a flow offensively. They got to get some of these guys into a flow offensively, because look, we was one of the best offenses in the league in the regular season, and I get regular season doesn't matter at this point, when these playoffs, but the way you run your offense, I think, kind of matters. Hero ball, while it's great, it's cool for the fans, most of the time it ain't gonna get you the way you gotta go. They gotta get more. They gotta get more from the other guys. They gotta get more from the bench. The bench, non-existent last night after, I would say, a pretty good game 1 from the bench, but only Deuce McBride with 8 points off the bench, and that was it.
Well, I disagree with the hero ball, particularly in the playoffs, more so the playoffs than the regular season. But we do agree with the bench. The bench play has to be better. You know who I'm talking about, because you know who I'm going straight to, because you've been telling me about this dude since he's been back. Like, this is supposed to be the situation where he gets healthy, he gets into the starting rotation, and then Cat goes where he needs to go. Is it still healthy at this stage of the game for Mitchell Robinson?
I think it's the stubbornness of the coach, in my opinion. Because if I'm coach, game 3, I'm having a conversation with Josh Hart, and I'm saying, bro, we gotta get you coming off the bench, bro, because we can't get out rebounded by a team that had their second best center out in Isaiah Stewart. Like, we can't have that. So, in order for us to be able to get offensive boards and, being able to play some defense and protect the paint, Mitch got to start. I'm sorry. Mitch got to start next to Cat, Bridges, OG, and Brunson. That's the rest of the starting 5 for me. If I am Coach Thibodeau, if you're listening, which I know you're not, but that's what I would be. That's how I would go about approaching game 3. That would
But
be
look,
my adjustment.
well, okay. 6 rebounds in 17 minutes. Obviously, that's not a terrible stat. 6 rebounds in 17 minutes ain't a bad stat. But
Mm-hmm.
no point. One, it might. I might be. You tell me. I know game one he had zero. No, game two he had 0 points and 6 boards, and
Yep.
then in game two he had 6 points and 6 boards.
Game one,
Is
he
that
had 6 points. Game one, he scored in game one. Game
okay? I
two,
got it backwards. Okay.
only Deuce came off the bench to score. Everybody else that was in campaign came in the game, looking erratic, bad passes, bad footwork. Shamit came in the game, bad turnover. Um, that's why those guys, only got the minutes they got last night. I think campaign had 4 minutes last night. I think Shamit had 5 or 6 minutes. And this is the thing with Tibbs. If he sees you not coming out, right, he's not going to trust you the rest of the game, which I don't agree with. In certain moments, I feel
Yeah.
like you let players kind of play through some of the clumsiness and some of the mistakes,
Right.
but you guys got to come out like with a sense of urgency because look, respect the Pistons. It's one of the greatest stories this season. 30-game improvement. Got one of the young best young and up and coming stars in the game. You know what I
Kane went
mean?
crazy last night.
Yeah, right. So look, y'all got to take this team seriously. And if we're gonna get one in Detroit, that's how we got to come out. We got to come out with a sense of urgency. So
What your predictions was the Knicks in 5 last I recall.
yep,
You sticking to that?
I'm sticking to it.
Okay.
I'm sticking to it.
Okay. That
Yeah,
means this is a
this was
four game sweep.
this was it was 3-game sweep because it's tied 1-1.
Right. True.
This to me was the Knicks punch in the mouth. They got punched in the mouth last night, and I think this is gonna wake them up. And they got to understand. Look, Brunson, he's great. Going into the lane and drawing fouls and the clutch shots and all that. That's cool. But when other dudes can't get in the rhythm because the ball's sticking, then it's just not going to flow. I think Bridges hits that shot if he's into a much better rhythm earlier in the game. OG, I think, has a better game when he's not so much focused on defending Kate Cunningham and he can kind of get, halfway into an offensive flow. Cat, if you I need the ball, Brunson. Like, yeah, I know you the dude, but I was doing my thing in the first half. We got to get back to that. Like, there's just some things that when it's working throughout the game, sometimes you just got to go back to it. So
Yeah. Okay. All right. But no concerns on your end.
nah, I'm not concerned one bit.
Okay.
I know the Pistons are a good team. One of the best stories in the season this year, man. So respect.
I hear you.
What's your what was your prediction for the series?
I had to. I got. Excuse me. I'll take the Knicks in 6.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that seems like a more popular opinion of the series. Like I mean I know people wanted to go 7, which is cool. I mean it's for good TV. But I want to wrap this up in 5 because I know what's waiting on the other side once we get through this series. So
right. Okay. Well, it's way too early to talk about upsets, so I'll table upsets for if this gets interesting.
Okay. All right. No doubt. Yeah, speaking of that team that we might see down the road, they're up in their series, 1-0. The Magic, who had to beat the Hawks to get into the number 7 seed to play Boston. I watched some of that game. Thought it was a good first half. The Magic could play some defense. I mean, that's one thing that I think they're consistently good at, and they've shown throughout the regular season. The problem with Orlando is that they don't have a point guard, and it makes it so much tougher for guys like Banchero and Wagner and those other guys to, create their own shots. You have a point guard in there that could get you some better shots to those guys. That offense would be so much better. So, what's your
Uh,
thoughts?
um, shout out to Bankero because Bankero don't seem to have no problem in creating his own shot to what I've seen in his career. So I don't think Bankero is the. Obviously a point guard. And we agree they need a point guard, but I don't think Bankero is, as the primary scorer is so much affected by not having a good point guard. From what I saw, at the end of the day, man, this is the Celtics and that's the Magic. Tough team, scrappy team, the Magic are, but they're just not up to par in the playoffs. It's just
Yeah, offensively. I offensively, because look, Boston didn't go crazy. I didn't think Boston went crazy.
Derek White scored 30. What's his
Yep.
name had 17. Tatum had 17, and
Yeah.
then Pritchard 19 off the bench, four out of 6 from 3 points. We know Pritchard, that's what he do. He shoot.
Yep.
I won't, sure. But to sit here, the points were spread, I won't say evenly, but they were spread well. You know what I'm saying? It's
They were
like
spread well. They were spread well.
after Bankero and Wagner, I don't know anybody that scored. I'm sure other people scored, but
Yeah.
nobody. I don't know that anybody had double figures after that.
Yeah. No, I can't recall. But yeah, they could use another Cole Anthony performance like he had against Atlanta in the play-in. They could definitely use that.
Yeah, but the problem is with all due respect to Cole Anthony, I don't, maybe he's the guy who needs the point guard. Maybe it's Wagner. But Wagner had 23. I don't watch enough of Wagner to know his game like that. But you know what I'm saying? I do agree they need a point guard. But even if they had the point guard, they're just not up to par yet with the Celtics.
Yeah, they won't win the series.
Yeah.
They'll win. They'll probably take it to 7 if they have a true point guard. They'll probably take it to 7 games.
I don't know, bro. I just don't know.
Because again, defensively, the Magic consistently defensively, they've been who they've been.
What was the but sure, but it was one they lost by 20, I feel like.
I don't remember the score.
Yeah, don't give me the line, but I feel like they lost by 20.
They lost by about maybe 15, something like that. But again, it's offense. It's more so they can't score enough to keep up with a Boston team that look. I didn't think Boston offensively was that great. Like we've seen Boston
sure
on a barrage. Like they didn't do that. They didn't do that on Sunday. So I think if you're Orlando, you just say, hey, look, let's just keep doing what we're doing as far as on the defensive side. We got to get some more scoring from somebody else other than Bankero and Wagner.
Yeah, they lost by like 15. You was right. But
about 15? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But I kind of see the series going 6. And I might be overselling that a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
I think defensively, I think defensive. There's just something about defense in the playoffs that
I call it gentleman sweep.
So 5 Celtics and 5.
Yeah,
okay, all right.
Sweep.
Celtics and 6 for me. That's cool. Cavs and the Heat.
You can mop that up. That's a sweep.
That's a sweep.
Yeah. So
as they was playing. Who did they play? I guess it was Atlanta. They were playing Atlanta. And I'm thinking to myself like, yo, this team, the Heat is like thorns. Like they just won't quit. I got the question in myself like, can they really like do something with Cleveland? Like in terms of making it interesting. I'm not saying win the series, but like, could they win a couple of games in this series? And I thought to myself, hey, maybe Eric Spoelstra's got something in his pocket. Maybe they could do it. But I went out the window on this one. I picked Cavs in 7. I went out the window on this one.
Yeah,
I went out the window, man. I said this team is just too feisty and gritty. And look, and what did we say about Cleveland? We said great regular season team. You don't believe them. maybe they have a hiccup here and there. It's the playoffs. They got, they the number one seed. The pressure is on them for the first time, in a while. And you got a team with a coach that's been there, done that. Some players that have, know what it's like in that system, in that heat culture.
Yeah, but
You know what I'm saying?
I'm kind of with you. I just didn't have. I be honest with you, I haven't won a game. And I felt that way when it. That's the way I felt. Because here's the thing, man.
Yep.
This team is different without Jimmy Butler. It just is. Like
Sure.
these are secondary players
Sure.
who played a little bit better than maybe they were, with all due respect, because Jimmy Butler was that kind of player.
Mm-hmm.
Like Bam Adebayo is a great player, but he need a star. But he need to be beside a star. Tyler Hero was a spotty player. He's a shooter at
Andrew Wiggins, spotty player.
Yeah, like Tyler Hero is like new age Cal Korver. Like, you know what I'm saying? And
that's crazy to say, because I think Hero does more than just score than Kyle Korver ever, was in his career. Like, I think
I look at him and think
there's more attributes to Tyler Hero than it is to Kyle Korver.
Sure,
if that makes sense.
I wouldn't disagree. But I think as he gets older, he'll be a guy that shoots. He'll
morph into that. Yeah,
like I see him being new age, and that's kind of what I mean by new age, because there's little to no jump shooters that just strictly shoot jumpers and can't do anything else. I mean, that's a dead player almost in this league now. So as he's not gonna be able to do much. Maybe JJ Redick is a better comparison.
Maybe. But they count on him to do quite a bit. So
but their record would suggest that maybe he ain't that dude.
Maybe, but that they got some of that record with Jimmy Butler in there also. So
again, like they don't have anybody that can take them to the promised land. So it's just a bunch of no offense, a bunch of twos with a good coach, a great coach.
Great coach.
That are in that's in the playoffs.
Great coach. Yeah. I mean, again, if anybody can get you a couple of games in this series, Eric Spoelstra can get you a couple of games.
Don't think it happens I don't think it happens in this series. I think they get swept. And again,
shout out Cleveland.
Yeah, and shout out to the Heat again. I don't think they get it done. And I heard myself when I said it. I don't believe the Cavs. But let me be clear about what my position is about the Cavaliers and Oklahoma City Thunder. I don't believe they have what it takes to go to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm talking about. So let me be clear on what, in case people want to rewind back tape. I'm very clear in what I said then and what I said now and what I stand on. I don't think they have what it takes to go to the finals.
Mm-hmm. I'll disagree slightly. I think they do have what it takes to get to the finals. I just don't think
it's not time yet. Let me say that. You're right. Let me say that different. It's not time yet for them. That's
I think you got a dynasty in the making in Boston, and there's a couple of teams out west you gotta watch out for. In my opinion. So
I think y'all would lick y'all chops if y'all got Cleveland. The Knicks, yeah.
You kidding me?
Yeah.
Man, conference finals. Oh, dude, it's all the way up. So, for sure, for sure.
Alex is kicking my ass, bro.
Clarity time. Pacers and Bucks. I got the game on right now. They taking it to Milwaukee right now.
Okay, yeah.
They taking it to Milwaukee, and Dame is back. This is first game.
I know Dame is back, right?
Yeah. And I love the interaction between him and Halliburton in game one. At the end there, telling him, "Yo, I'll bust your ass." I love that. Need more of it throughout the league.
We need more. We need it on the court though too.
Yeah, that's
what's happening.
Yeah, not right now. Not
Yeah.
right now. Your thoughts on this series?
I wanted to pick Milwaukee in this series. I did want to.
Hmm.
But Dame Lillard or not, I don't think the Bucks got enough help to deal with the Pacers. I just, I don't think, and I don't much believe in the Pacers, but I just think they're a faster team
Yep.
than the Bucks. I think they got a system and they sticking to it, and I think that system is fast enough and good enough to beat to overtake like Giannis. Like Giannis
A
had
older
36.
team. A older
Yeah,
team.
an
Yeah.
older team. Like Giannis had 36 the other day. Like he
Yep.
you score 36, you can't really have no whole bunch of complaints with him. It's just like now you got to
He
look
need
at the
help.
rest of your team. He need help.
He need
He
help.
need
Did you
help.
see you see your boy stats from game one? Kyle
Mm-mm.
Kuzma.
Yeah, 0. He missed 2 free throws. He missed 2 free throws.
In 22 minutes.
Yeah, and let's be clear, that's not my guy. Don't put that on me.
He was on the Wizards, man.
He was just on the Wizards. He's not my guy. I mean, we ain't beefing or nothing, but he was not my guy.
Yeah, that's a problem though.
Yeah, that's a problem
if you
because you
Milwaukee,
bought him there for
yeah,
that reason. If you giving Kuzma, I mean, if Kuzma's giving you a consistent, 22 to 25 points,
hmm
this is a different game. This is a different series.
hmm
But because I forget shout out to my guy who was the Bucks who's my guy the
Oh,
Bucks
Amara,
fan shout
yeah,
out,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
You're not getting nothing. He said it then. You're not getting nothing from Kuzma. He's so inconsistent.
yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. He did mention that he likes Kevin Porter Jr. a lot more. You
Yeah,
do, as well. You pointed
yeah,
that out,
yeah.
on that same episode. Um, yeah, they gotta get something from some of these other guys, man. Even with Dame in the lineup, and
Yeah.
I don't know what Dame's doing right now. I don't know what his stat line is currently, but I imagine when they get to Milwaukee, I think this series is gonna take a certain shift because I got Milwaukee winning the series,
I got Pacers
and
in 6.
you got Pacers in 6. Okay,
Yeah.
I had Milwaukee in 6, and which means if they lose tonight, they're gonna have to rack off 4 straight,
Yeah.
and I'm just not sure with a more not I don't want to say a more experienced Pacers team, but a Pacers team that got a taste of it last year,
This
and
is a faster team, and there's nobody on the Bucks, or they don't have a plan that's going to offset that. And this team already don't play great defense.
yeah, there you go. That's the difference there too.
Yeah.
Difference there for sure. All right, Western Conference. Oklahoma City versus the Grizzlies. That game 2, I think, is tonight.
I don't remember.
I
I
think
don't
it's
remember.
tonight. I think it's tonight. Yeah, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I had family over the house Sunday afternoon. We setting up the dinner table, and had a couple cousins come from Philly down to the crib, and I had the game on in the living room, and we just kind of sitting there, me, my cousin, my
Yeah.
father-in-law, and we watching this game, and we just watching Oklahoma City just take it to these dudes. I'm like, all right, this is what happens when you got an interim coach and you coming off of beating the Dallas Mavericks literally 36 hours prior to you starting this game. This is exactly the result that you're gonna get. Is a beatdown.
So you think this is what's the word I'm looking for? They still on high emotions from beating Dallas.
Yeah, that combined with they played 1 o'clock. That game was what, late Friday night. That was a late
Yeah.
Friday night game, and
Yeah.
then I get there's back to backs during the regular
So I
season,
was about to
but
say I don't know if I'm jacking that.
I get
I
it. No, I
think
get it. I get it. I get it. There's back to backs Friday night, but it's something about when you play 36 hours later and you're facing a team, a number 1 seed that won 68 games that had a week off. It's just something about that where look, they're the better team. Oklahoma City's the better team. Like there's no like ifs, ands, or buts about that. There's no doubts. 56 points, 56 as the deficit, as the largest lead in the game. That's not. I'll say this: Oklahoma City can put up that kind of offensive firepower, even
Yep.
with Shea only scoring what 17, I think he had
15, 15, 17,
so,
15.
yeah, something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, something like that. When the other guys are eating around him and all that. That Memphis team, that's not the to me, that's not the real Memphis. That's not the real Memphis. 32 points to end the first half.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's not the Grizzlies. Not
Yeah.
with John Morant there, not with Desmond Bain and Jaren Jackson Jr., who's had a great season, improved season from last year. Like that's not them. That's not them. And I'm not saying that to say the Grizzlies got a chance to make this a series, because I don't. I really don't. But you could, I mean, what they put up 130? They put up 130 on them dudes
Yeah.
on Sunday.
Yeah.
Put 110. Put 110 up, Memphis. Like, what are we doing?
Look,
what are we doing?
I
What are
don't
we doing?
know. I don't know if this is blame the the coach fireman, the recent coach fireman. I don't know if this is that. Um, Look, if anybody wants to say this is the Taylor Jenkins effect, I wouldn't argue with you.
Yeah,
I would say that this is an anomaly. Look, I don't got them
for
beating
sure.
Oklahoma City either.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just an anomaly game. It's a terrible time to have an anomaly game in game one of the playoffs. But I think it's just that, an anomaly game. John Moran said something to the effect of, I guess they asked him, what were you telling your teammates? And he said, "Hey, we can't play any worse.
Mm-hmm.
We can't play any worse."
Yeah, yeah,
I tend to agree. You definitely can't play any worse than what they played that the other day.
yeah.
So look, I still got the Thunder in 5,
I do too.
but they can't play worse. Hopefully, it's competitive.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think they can. Yeah, they could get one. I don't know if it's going to be tonight, but I do think when they go to Memphis, I think they could get one
Yeah,
in Memphis. If you're the interim coach and you go through what you go through on Sunday, you know, in real time, all you could do is just keep, rotating players in and out of the lineup to try to see what sticks. Like,
yeah.
that's all you can do. You're not Taylor Jenkins. Like, it's
Well,
so much you could do.
but it's not like this dude ain't been on the bench and don't know nothing about the team and tendencies and who's going to get them what, like, what I'm saying. So I'm just not shooting. I'm not putting so much of this on the fact that Taylor Jenkins ain't the coach. Like, this dude ain't, like, he ain't walking to a new situation, with not knowing the players and not knowing the scheme and that, what I'm saying. Like, this dude has
For
been on the
sure.
bench all year. So he, whatever, whatever. I would guess that it's more intangible things and more just mental decision making that the interim has that doesn't have, that Taylor Jenkins has.
Yeah.
That but and maybe that's the difference. I can't imagine that being a 50-point difference for the rest of this series. I think they'll get a game. Like I said, I think they'll get a game in Memphis.
Yep.
This team is just better. This team is just better.
Yeah.
Oklahoma City, I mean.
Yeah. Defensively, man, they could get after it too. It's crazy how they're just so, like, no matter what offense you're running, pass across the
I mean,
court,
look, man,
whatever.
it don't require a deep
They
dive. The
they
Oklahoma City Thunder is a better team than the Memphis Grizzlies.
Sure, but I'm saying, but when you watch them, especially on the defensive end, like, they close out fast, bro. Like, they get to it in time.
Sure,
It's crazy.
but also, this team isn't at being the Grizzly ain't that offensively talented.
Right, that's true. They don't shoot the three very well. Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like,
I agree with that.
it's Ja Morant,
Yep.
And everybody else is just like you guys that there ain't nobody else that you super concerned about. Desmond Bain gets his moments. Jaren Jackson is more of a defensive player that like you ain't concerned about nobody over there.
Yep, yep, for sure, for sure. Shout out to Ash in the YouTube live chat. She says
What up?
Bo
What up?
Nix, iPhone 6, Betty Crocker cake mix, Lakers in 5, but
I
I
don't
think
know.
she really means Lakers in 6. I
I
think
don't
she
know.
means Lakers in 6.
I don't even know if that's a appropriate thing to say with all this Shannon Sharp going on right now.
Yeah, right, right. Your thoughts on Timberwolves versus Lakers?
The Lakers better watch out.
Hmm.
They better watch out. Now I'm picking the Lakers. Let's be clear. I'm picking the Lakers.
Me
But they better watch out. They'll mess around.
too. Mm-hmm.
They'll mess around. And look, one thing for certain, Luka is Luka. I don't want to ever misconstrue that. But I don't know if Anthony Edwards get to really talking to him, like the little Spider-Man thing that he did,
Yeah.
like if he really started playing games with him,
Mm-hmm.
is Luka gonna tuck his tail when it matter? I don't know. I'm not saying yay. I'm not saying nay. I'm just saying I don't know how Luka going. Like this ain't Devin Booker, bruh. Like no shit to Devin Booker, but
Oh
Anthony
look, he took out that exact team in the conference
in
finals
the conference
last
finals.
year.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
So I wouldn't like you.
That's a fact.
I'm not worried about Luka and the mentals. Like he's good with me there.
Well, I'm not gonna. But in that he just beat them last year, we also know that Anthony Edwards is coming with a different energy.
Sure, of course.
Or it would be reasonable to say that that he's going to come with a certain energy because say what you want. This is, and I get LeBron is on. I get LeBron is there.
I was gonna say. I'm about to say. Don't.
I get that. But this is new school. But this new school. I think this is new school. I think LeBron would recognize it for that, unless they really get into a whole type shit against the Timberwolves. But you gotta let the young boys play. You gotta let Luka have his moment with Anthony Edwards, and I think Anthony Edwards is for certain taking it personal.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. I think this is of all the series, this is the best series. Like, I'll pick my Knicks to be the second, best series amongst the 8. But this one here, to me, this is going 7. No matter what. Like, if you want to pick Minnesota in 7, I'm good with that. I got Lakers in 7. This, this has the makings of a classic. And, big shout out to all the contributors on Minnesota. Nas Reed, Jada McDaniels, even Julius Randle, had an okay game, his first playoff since leaving the Knicks and all that. DiVincenzo, let's not forget DiVincenzo. He can get hot, from 3. So Minnesota got some weapons now. Lakers, like you said, the Lakers better be careful. That this thing don't get out of hand. I think game 2's tonight, and I'm probably going to be asleep when it ends, but I'll try to stay up for the moment because this is going to be a good one. I think it's going to be a good one for sure. Who you think got to be on the Lakers? Who you think got to be the X factor for the Lakers? We know Luka. We know Luka's going to do his thing. LeBron, I think, like you said, he's going to pick his spots. When he feels like
it's obviously Reeves. I mean, it's obviously Reeves, but like I said, man, Anthony Edwards, man, there's something about that dude, man. Like I don't think he should have been fined for that my dick bigger than yours comment to the fan. You know what I'm saying? Like it's something about that dude. On the court. I'm just talking about on the court play, bravado. Like it's something about that dude. That dude is a star, man, and it's that concern. And Luka's a star too, obviously. Yeah. But so I don't know, man. I just look at that dude play, and it's like something different about that dude, man. It's something different about that dude. And again, it's not to take anything from Luka. It's just something different about Anthony Edwards, man.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be fun, man. And yeah, you're absolutely right. He's taking this personal. And look, if the Timberwolves are gonna win the series, he got to be that dude. Like
Yeah,
he got to be the dude. The others got to do their part as well, but he has to be that dude. He's got to
yeah, like
overcome. He's got to overcome
two
two goats,
superstars.
two
Yeah,
superstars. He's got to
yeah,
overcome two of those guys.
yeah, yeah. That's a
Because
fact. That's a
yeah,
fact.
because after
That's
that,
a fact.
because after the three best players in the series, after the three best players, you can argue Minnesota's got number
Easy,
4, number 5, number 6.
easily. Yeah,
Yeah,
easily,
yeah.
easily.
With all due respect to Austin Reeves,
Yeah,
you you can argue Minnesota got number 4, 5, and 6. So
yeah,
they they better watch out.
yeah, for
Better
sure,
watch
for
out.
sure.
Nuggets and Clippers in a tied series going to LA. Great game by Kawhi Leonard last night with what did he drop? He dropped
30,
40 or
39,
30,
39.
39
Yeah.
points last night. Yeah, great game by him. I think James Harden is playing well in this series so far. Look, man, this is my upset. Well, no, this isn't my upset. My upset is the other series we're going to talk about, but this would not be an upset. It's a 4-5 matchup.
Yeah.
The Clippers, I'm taking the Clippers in this series.
Take the Clippers over the Nuggets. I ain't mad at that.
Yeah,
I ain't
7
mad at
games.
that.
7
Yeah,
game series.
I ain't mad at that. I ain't mad at that. I'm almost gonna I'm going Nuggets. I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
I've been seeing Toronto Kawhi, slow down guys, just slow down. It's a game, slow down. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Nuggets. Give me the Nuggets in 7.
Okay. Yeah. Another classic
Man,
series, I think.
Slim had a triple double in a 26, 11, and 12. I want to say Jokic had yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a triple double in the loss.
Yeah.
I don't know
Close
if it's
game
gonna.
though. Close game.
Yeah,
I mean,
both games were close. Right, the first game
Yep.
was overtime. So it's not.
Yep.
Look, I'm not saying. I'm going to go with the Nuggets. Because look, these are evenly matched teams. It appears. These are evenly matched teams.
And I will say, similar to Pistons Knicks,
Exactly.
this series, the Clippers have controlled the majority of these two games. They gave away game 1. I mean, props to the Nuggets for the comeback in game 1, but the Clippers gave that one away, and they easily could be up 2-0 going to LA.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Nuggets in 7.
All right. That's a bet. Rockets and Warriors. This may be another case of the young up and coming team. Well, it's not maybe, it is.
It is that, yeah.
It's the young and up and coming team versus the veteran championship experience team.
Yeah.
Look, I think the Rockets have done a great job the regular season. Ime Udoka is a great coach, in my opinion. But it's the jitters, the moments, and for a while there, they look like they hung themselves in there. But when it come to that boy Chef, when Chef get it going, it's hard to stop him, bro. And then you got Jimmy making all kinds of plays. And you have yourselves, you got yourselves a veteran team that knows how to win in the close, clutch moments, and that's why they're up 1-0 in the series.
Yeah, that's it, and that's all. I think that I think they'll get 2. The Rockets. I think the Rockets will get 2. They just don't look ready. They just don't look ready.
Yeah,
like just watching it, they just don't look ready. They've never been here, and they got guys. Really the only guy that's really been there was Van Vliet.
Right.
As far as experience, but they just time.
Yep.
It's just you know, it's crazy that you can't. It's like you should be able to run them off the floor. You're young enough,
Yep.
but this
Which
is
it looked like it in the first half of game one. It looked like that. Like
yeah.
that was gonna happen. But
But yeah,
yeah,
experience. Like you got to remember, this used to be a running team, Golden State.
yeah, right.
You know, these
Right.
guys come from that. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
So certainly they know how to deal with it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So this
Shut up,
they
my
just
guy. Shut up, my guy. Sammy down in Atlanta. I was at his house while we was down there, and he's a big Golden State fan. And I asked him the question because you and I had kind of talked about this previously when we were talking about who was going to be able to, win the Western Conference this year. I know you're down on the Warriors when it comes to that front,
yeah
and we talked about who was going to be the Andrew Wiggins of this Warriors run if they were to make a run, right?
yeah.
So I asked him that same question, and he said Jonathan Kaminga, and I was like, okay, I couldn't argue it. I couldn't, that's his team. I couldn't argue much.
Uh-huh.
But then, now mind you, this was before their playing game
Right.
against Memphis. So I'm getting ready to watch the playing game against Memphis. Jonathan Kaminga nowhere to be found.
Right. Yeah.
Not even
Okay.
didn't even suit up.
I thought I was tripping because I just seen a story talking about these Bamas are never going to play Kaminga.
Yeah. And I had to think back to when I asked him that, and the dude that he thinks is going to be the Andrew Wiggins of the run can't even get burned, can't even get on the floor.
I would have disagreed with that almost immediately. Because it's like, bro, y'all don't even play Jonathan Kaminga. Y'all haven't played Jonathan Kaminga.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've seen,
I haven't watched the Warriors. I haven't watched much of the Warriors down the stretch. But I know that's been like a huge talking point in
there's
him.
a story about
getting Mitch.
Getting him off the team.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like I read it somewhere. Like how can they do it? How can they get him off the team? Like I don't know what his contract situation is,
That's
and I
crazy.
didn't read this story, but I saw it as a headline. Like what can they do to get him off the team?
That's wild. That's wild to me.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Fans be fanning, you know what I'm saying?
But because now you counting on Moses Moody, Gary Payton Jr., that white boy Pod,
whatever his name, yeah.
Yep.
Who in the brief time I seen him, like he looked like he could be a piece at some point, but
he looked like he could be something, but it's a wait and see kind of a thing. So, and the same thing with the center that they got, the post, like same thing. Yeah, you could knock down threes as a big man, but consistency, like none of those guys to me have shown the consistency to be that. So I understand the people, including yourself, that doubt the Warriors in terms of winning a championship. But I'll say this. I still think they got a chance to win the Western Conference. I still think they are a threat to win because of not just Chef, Jimmy. Like, this is Jimmy's type of year. This is his time of year, man.
Nah, bro. I hear you, but nah, bro. Because
this is time of year, man.
I don't. You know the bracket better than me, but
they would get the Warriors or Timberwolves in the next round.
They would get we talking about the Warriors. They would get who?
I said they would get the They would get the Lakers or the Timberwolves in the next round.
Yeah, you could go ahead and wrap it up after that.
Really?
You could wrap it up after that.
Really?
If they get past the Rockets, you can wrap it up after that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, you can wrap it up after that.
Okay. Yeah, you saying that with conviction, bro.
Yeah, and I mean it. Hear me good. Like I'm not saying they're gonna get swept, but they're not above a gentleman sweep though.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. Because
they're not above it.
I don't know, bro. They certainly got a chance to beat the Lakers. I think they got a chance to beat Minnesota in a series as well. They play defense. Like the Warriors, like I don't want to sleep on their defense either. They could play some good defense too.
Sure,
So
I'm sure, sure, but I don't think that goes to 6 games.
you so you're thinking 5? You think they get up out of there in
I'm
5
I'm
by
calling
both of those
gentlemen.
teams?
I'm calling a gentleman sweep.
Oh, I'm clipping it up.
Calling gentleman sweep.
I'm clipping it up.
Lakers or Timberwolves. Lakers or Timberwolves. I call a gentleman sweep against the Warriors.
I'm
Clip
clipping
it
it up,
up.
bro.
Clip it up.
I'm gonna clip it up, bro. Ooh, you being disrespectful, man.
Hey, it's clipped up. So if I'm wrong, I got to answer to it. I'm just saying.
Woo! Ooh, boy. I mean, yes. Again, there's reasons to not like them. Like we just talked about it, but there's also reasons to like them
Sure.
as
The
well.
Warriors,
So
Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler is Jimmy Butler, and sure they're older, but they're still them. But
yeah.
yeah, nah.
Yep. All right, man. We gonna find out. We gonna find out. Yeah, I think we went through all the series, man. Um, what you think? NFL draft coming up Thursday.
Pittsburgh Steelers. I know, I get it. We need a quarterback. Don't do it.
What, trade
Don't
up?
don't get. I don't want them to draft a quarterback at all.
Really?
I don't believe in Shador Sanders. I
Really?
definitely don't believe in Jackson Dart.
Okay,
If you're going to draft a
so
quarterback, go ahead and get Milroe and try to get him in the 3rd round, 2nd round, whatever. We don't got a 2nd round draft. We don't got a pick in the 2nd round, but go ahead and try to get Jalen Milroe out of Alabama if you're going to do that. But do not go quarterback 1st round. I would prefer you go defensive tackle.
even if they stayed at where they stayed at.
If they stay at where they stay, yeah, definitely don't trade up. We're not giving them no assets.
No,
trade.
sure.
Yeah,
I get that.
Yeah, ain't no quarter. And with all due respect to Shador Sanders and Jackson Dart and Cam Ward, there ain't no quarterback in that 1st round that make me feel like, oh yeah, we got to have him.
Y'all pick number 21.
21. Yep. I would please.
If Shador is there at 21, you're saying don't
get him. I'm saying get a defensive tackle. I'm saying it's 2 defensive tackles that are 1st round talent. I'm losing their names right now, but if they're there,
okay,
get them defensive tackles. If look, we gonna play this game like we don't know everybody that's available. Me and you don't. That's not how we.
I was gonna say because I tell you right now. I know what I want as far as
exactly.
Like, position.
I'm telling you position wise. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
more
we need edge rushers. For
Yeah.
me, we need edge rushers. I hope they address that with the 27 pick. So.
We need to go get a top tier defensive tackle. Cameron Hayward is 85 years old. And we need to show up our run defense. We need to go get a defensive tackle. So like I said, I forget the 2 top guys. But hopefully they fall to 21. Probably not. But if they do, we need to go get that. If that doesn't happen, we're probably going to draft quarterback and I'm going to not be excited.
That's crazy.
It's probably going to be Jackson Dart. But I'm reading that Jackson Dart's stock is rising. Mm-hmm. So while he was he was in a lot of mock drafts. They were saying he was going to go to Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. They're saying that his stock is rising and Shador's is dropping for some reason.
Yeah, that's wild. So, are you of the notion that Aaron Rodgers is coming to Pittsburgh?
No, I'm of the ilk that we're going to have a 9-8 season without a starting quarterback.
Okay. That you're okay, so
it's going to be a Mason Rudolph. It's going to be a Mason.
You're punting on the season without necessarily saying you're punting on the season.
Yeah, because look, man, we've done this before. We've had a bad quarterback and still had a winning record.
Yeah, no, I get it. I don't
get Aaron Rodgers. I don't feel like Aaron Rodgers is going to be if we got Aaron Rodgers, we'd make the playoffs and we'd be a 1st round exit all the same. I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't need
So
that
why not? So why not get a? And I get there's other needs. I get that. I'm just trying
because I don't
to.
believe any of these quarterbacks. I don't believe any of these quarterbacks are franchise quarterback talent. I don't believe it. And I watched Jackson Dart, I was saying watch every single game, but I went,
Yeah, sure, sure.
when I was hoping we was gonna get Slim from New England.
Hmm.
I looked up Slim from New England. I looked up Jackson Dart. That's what I did after the pod, literally.
Right, right.
And Jackson Dart don't excite me.
Hmm.
Like he made all the good throws, the throws that he should make, but he didn't
Yeah,
show me any degree of difficulty. He's not mobile.
yeah. I tell you one thing I'm learning, and I've learned over the years, watching the draft and stuff. But particularly now that I'm older and wiser, one thing for certain is that these experts, the Mel Kipers and the Field Yates and the Todd McShays of the world that have these mock drafts out there, they know just as much as we know because we don't know how good these dudes are going to be or how bad these dudes are going to be. Like we just don't know. Like they can throw a football 90 yards down the
Well,
field. Okay, cool.
I disagree with that. They watch more of these players than we do. So I'm not going to. I mean,
No, I get that. I
we're
get
all
that.
guessing. They got a little bit more intel. Their guess is a
That's
little
the
more educated.
difference. They have
Yeah.
more intel. That's the difference. But we know, like, come on. The best quarterbacks in the league right now, Lamar was picked number 32. Mahomes was in the middle of the first round. Russell Wilson was picked in what, the sixth round or fourth round, something like that. Um, some of the best quarterbacks, in the league have been picked in later rounds or later in the first round. So
Yeah, but also, Justin Herbert's first round, Josh Allen first round.
yeah,
You know what I'm
sure.
saying? So
Sure.
I mean,
No, I get it.
there is a percentage based on intel, obviously,
Yep.
that if you get a top tier quarterback talent, that is going to change your team. There's a percentage. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, we don't know anything. It's all a gamble, but there's definitely a percentage
Definitely a gamble
saying,
for sure.
yeah. So the truth is that I don't know any better from Mel Kiper how it's going to pan out, but they definitely have
Right.
intel and have
Yep.
watched more film than I have as far as if I'm going to go with this guy over this guy, they've watched it. They get paid to watch
Yep.
it.
Yep.
So, but I
Yeah.
don't believe Shador Sanders is Pittsburgh's franchise quarterback. Maybe he is for somebody else. I don't think
That's
he is for.
interesting.
I don't think he is for Pittsburgh.
Because the Steelers would be, look, I'm as a Ravens fan, I hate to say it, but it's probably one of the better situations organizationally than the teams that are, closer to the top of the draft. So, sometimes it's a situation that these quarterbacks fall into that allow them to, be good the first couple of years and then eventually, be great. Sometimes that happens. I mean,
Well, here's
those
the other
teams at the
piece.
top, they're at the top for a reason. They're not very good organizations. They're not very good teams. You know what I'm saying? The Titans are not a very good ran organization right now. The Cleveland Browns have been a terrible organization for a long, long time. So,
Yeah, yeah. Again, for me, bro, it's just um. And then the other piece is I don't know if I want Deion Sanders in Pittsburgh. I'll say it. I'll be honest. I don't know if I want him in Pittsburgh. Like it's hard knocks. It's everything but focusing on
you think he
football.
comes with the circus. You think he
Yeah,
comes with
I do, and I get it. He got a job. He got other things to do, but I feel like media will find some way to implant him.
Yep.
I feel like like I don't care for it. I don't care for it. I just don't. I just don't.
Interesting.
I just don't.
Interesting.
I'm okay with. Uh, and when I mean okay,
Yep.
I don't
So
mean
if
okay.
Milrow is available in the second round, you good with Milrow?
I'm fine to find out. what he can be more than I am about what Shador Sanders could be because we got more needs. We got
Yeah,
more pressing needs, and I know that sounds crazy to say we got a more pressing need than a quarterback. But if I don't feel like I got a franchise quarterback, why would I go, you know, digging? And I don't
yeah,
believe I got what I
yeah,
want.
yeah, yeah. No, I hear you, man. Like I said, I mean, this whole thing is a toss up. Even with defensive ends, edge rushers, and all the other positions. With some of these guys, it would work out. With others, it don't work out. It depends on the team you go to. It depends on how bad they are. Like this whole thing's a crapshoot. But
Yeah, for
but
sure.
that's an interesting take though. I just got one question and we could wrap this up because I've been hearing that the Jets, if there's a quarterback available that they like, that they would take the quarterback, regardless of if it's first round or second round. They just gave Justin Fields
They
$20 million.
gave him they gave it prove it to me quarterback money. So yeah, that's
Right, right,
reasonable. That's
right,
reasonable.
right. Um, you think so? You're of the
That's
belief
reasonable.
that if the Jets, if they see a guy they like, they should get him, whether
Yeah,
it's first round or second round.
yeah,
Okay, okay,
yeah. One
okay,
hundred percent. 100.
okay.
Jalen Milrow.
Is that the same situation as the Falcon situation last year, or is it different because of the money that they
It's
paid Kirk
different.
Cousins?
It's different because Kirk Cousins is 38 years old. It's different because so them getting Penix, like he was the future anyway. Like even if Kirk
Right.
Cousins was good and good for 2 or 3 years and retired, you
Yep.
knew that So I don't look at that the same. Also, you know the Jets. For because of the Chicago Bears, let's just keep it a buck. Because of the
Yep.
Chicago Bears, Justin Fields is in a situation where he has to prove that he's a number one quarterback,
Yep.
as opposed to us
I
already
agree with
knowing.
that. I agree that he has to prove it.
Yeah, so
There's no doubt about that.
it's reasonable for based on what they paid him to
Hmm.
say, "Hey, bruh, this is your time. This is your chance to prove it to us that you
Yep.
are a franchise quarterback because you are in your prime. You should be our franchise quarterback based on age and
Yeah.
attributes. You should be,
Right.
but."
Right.
For whatever reason, what we did to with Chicago, and for not for nothing for what Pittsburgh did to him.
Hmm.
I, Looking back on it, we shouldn't have benched him.
Mm.
We shouldn't have benched him. We should have
Mm.
treated him like he was our number one. And we should treat him like he was our number one. If he got injured, then let Russell Wilson do whatever. And but we should have gave him an opportunity to be a number one in Pittsburgh, and I don't feel like we did that appropriately.
Mm. Because Russ was promised the job in training
Yeah,
camp.
and then he got injured.
Yeah.
That's also he was injured for most of those games. So that's also add that caveat. It wasn't just
Yep.
we trying out Justin Fields. It was
Right.
Russell Wilson ain't 100%.
Right.
So
And
instead
Justin
of
didn't do enough to be like, yo, this is my job. I'm putting these numbers up. Like they didn't
yeah
see
that
enough to
it
where
but it was right. It was those two things. But I feel
Mhm.
like just based on you know Justin Fields' situation in Chicago. He's
Mhm.
25 years old. I feel like you should have gave him an opportunity to prove himself as a starting quarterback because you told him, Russell Wilson wasn't your franchise quarterback. You knew he
Yeah.
wasn't your franchise. So
So
I think Pittsburgh did him dirty looking back now too.
yeah. So here's what I think. I think the Jets need to approach this the way Tampa Bay approached it with Baker Mayfield because Baker kind of was on a prove it or lose it kind of a contract as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was in, what was he in? He was with the Rams and
And
then the
then
Panthers
Carolina, yeah.
that one year, right? So yeah, he's kind of was in the same situation as Justin Fields is in now. If I'm the Jets, I think you just treat it like Tampa Bay treated that situation. I think you just draft to try to build the team around the dude and to give the dude confidence that hey, we gonna build this team around you. It's gonna be up to you to determine your future, for this season and moving forward. You're only 26 years old.
I think the only difference between Baker Mayfield and Justin Fields is that we have seen more examples of Baker Mayfield dropping back and throwing the ball.
True. Was in the playoffs. Was in the playoffs with Cleveland.
Yeah,
I get it.
We know and again, that's why I blame Chicago and also Pittsburgh to some degree for Justin Fields' career, because it's like, bruh, like, say what you want about Baker Mayfield. When he was in Cleveland, they let him drop back and throw the ball.
And Cleveland, you could there's no argument. Cleveland and Chicago, organizationally, you can make the comparison of how they're run, of how poorly they're ran.
But they let their quarterback throw the ball.
And Baker came in and sure. Offensive system, offensive coach, Stefanski was an offensive guru, and Chicago had, defensive guys trying to, call plays on offense. So I get it. I get the differences, and, I get the situations. There's some similarities. There are some similarities and differences, but Aaron Glenn, shout out to you. I would draft. Coach. I would draft to build that team around that kid, and like I told you, when they signed him, this is going to be a run first oriented offense, and I think they have the potential to be very successful at it. I think they do.
Sure.
Not saying they a playoff team. I'm just saying their offense going to look better than in years past. I just leave it at that.
Sure.
So, we got anything else, or we
don't,
good to
man.
go?
I am fighting. I'm trying to fight, and I'm sorry for everybody to hear me sniffle and do all these nasty things. But I ain't want to miss 2 weeks with my guy.
Yeah. It's been a while, man. It feels like forever, but feels great to be back, man. Feels great to be back. Quick shout out to everybody in the chats. My boy Dan Martin's in the building here in
what up?
In the Twitter live chat. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Go Knicks and all that good stuff. Continue to follow us, folks. Follow us on YouTube. Click the subscribe button. Let people know. We go on live every Tuesday around this time, 7:00 Eastern time. Also, follow us on the Facebook page. Click that like button. We're on Twitch as well. Follow us on Instagram. Shout out to our Instagram followers and, folks in the chat. At Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast is where you can find us at on Instagram. Also on Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2. If you got questions, comments about the show, hit us up on the email at barbershopsportstalk1@gmail.com and write us a review. When you're listening to us on these audio stations, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play, Apple, those reviews go a long way. And once again, appreciate the support from everybody. Back at it. We're going to give you some good content every Tuesday moving forward. Hopefully bring on some good guests as these playoffs, keep rolling. And if anything else, man, love, peace, and happiness to everybody out there. And as we always say on this show, folks, mind your damn business.
Drink some water.
Oh yeah, we got him. Trey, Frazier, and Maestro styles, we got one. Right back like we left some. We don't duck smoke, we want all of it. So line them up, Trey sharp with the blade, we sizing it up. I'm quick to catch the fade, Styles making the cut. Cause we coming out clean every time that we showing up.
It's gonna be called